would not be smart of me to not integrate AI into certain parts of my life. Yes, I use AI. I use it as an editor. I write my post, I get my voice out, and then I ask it questions of, helping me figure out, to get to the point that I'm trying to get to, or to give suggestions. How can you write a personal post when it's not you, it's not your voice? But it's like the core of our brand, so we would never sort of pass that off to AI.
Welcome to Inspired. I'm Alexa Von Tobel. What if a single person could become more powerful than a department store? This is exactly what we believe is happening to the future of e-commerce. Julia and Thomas Berolzheimer have spent 15 years proving that this is where commerce is headed. Julia started her blog, Gal Meets Glam, in college back in 2011, and has now become one of the most beloved influencers. Today, she's one of the most trusted voices in fashion with millions of followers across her many, many platforms. Thomas, her husband, is a tech-minded business partner behind their empire. Together, they built one of the most sophisticated creator businesses in the world, driving millions in sales annually while raising 2 daughters and working alongside one another day by day. In this conversation, we'll talk about the power of human curation over algorithms, whether AI can have taste, what it's really like to work with your spouse, and why authentic connection, not just AI slop, is the future of commerce. Both Julia and Thomas have become friends, and I'm so excited to have them on today. Let's dive right in.
If you're running a startup, we know things like managing equity and communicating with investors are always top of mind. Carta has built a connected suite of tools that over 40,000 companies use to do just that. Their platform of software and services helps you lay the groundwork so you can focus on building. To learn more or get started, visit carta.com. And with that, I'm so excited to have Julia and Thomas on. Guys, first of all, I'm so pumped. I'm also pumped to have you in the Inspired offices. We're all just sitting right here together. I'm so thrilled to have you on today for a million reasons, but most, I'm just excited to call you guys friends. So first, just welcome. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you, and likewise.
And Julia, God, it's been so fun just being pals. And I think so highly of both you and your amazing husband. Let's step back. Let's go to the beginning. Talk a little bit about, first of all, how you guys met. How old were you? And the founding of your incredible business, being one of the most powerful and beloved influencers online right now.
So we met, was it 2010, Thomas?
Yeah.
We were both going to University of the Pacific. He was a year older than I, but our families had grown up together, so I knew about him. I knew his grandparents. So when we met, there was sort of this shared history there between our families, and it was just one of those immediate best friends, and really have not spent a ton of time apart since we met then. And it was just a year later in 2011 that I discovered a website called lookbook.new. And it was a site where it was essentially sort of an Instagram for outfits. It was where people could upload photos of themselves. And it was sort of this whole world I discovered because Instagram didn't exist yet. And I was somebody who has always loved fashion. And it felt like this untouchable category to me. My only access to it was online and magazines. I didn't know anybody in the fashion industry, and this felt real. These real women across the world who had their own unique take. It wasn't a model. It wasn't a celebrity. And I found that really interesting, and immediately turned to Thomas and said, you need to buy we need to buy a camera, and you need to take pictures of my outfits. And that's really how the blog started. We started on Blogger, which many bloggers started back in the day. And I never in a million years would have thought that this would become our career and that an entire industry would develop, because of the idea of sharing online.
Thomas, I know that when you met her, you did not want to be her best friend. I can't fathom that that's what went through your head. Give us the sort of high points. You guys have now built a massive business, just like really as somebody who's learned more about it, it's so impressive. Give us the high points over the last decade of like sort of the milestones. And Thomas, a compliment to you. you've always been very tech forward and really leaned into the tools and how you think about it. So just maybe give us a sense of the evolution, including Gal meets Glam when you did a licensing deal. Give us a quick sense of all of that.
Yeah, so we launched our own brand, Glam Glam Collection, in 2018, and I would say that's actually a really good reference point because everything before then, you had affiliate working a lot, and then we were starting to work a lot with sponsored posts, and then we were like, we want to own something, we want to create a product of our own, and so then Julia worked with designers, and we did a licensing deal and had an amazing, huge success of a launch of Glam Glam Collection. And that ended up being all consuming for us. It ended up not like we were selling so much product, but because it was a licensing deal, not seeing so much of the money being returned back to us. And so it became really hard for us to grow and continue and invest in that business. And I would say like that was really when people were saying, okay, this is the influencer brand era, and like everyone was starting a brand. And I feel like we went through a phase of that, and we've sort of I feel like it's fizzled out. You've now I would almost say that there's bigger brands being built that aren't necessarily like influencer brands. They're celebrity brands, but influencer brands um, don't see them as big of a thing. It's more like how do you get influencers behind other brands, which is why like ShopMy coming in. Affiliate's been around for a really long time, but I feel like ShopMy has done it differently, which we can go into more.
Julia, I was going to throw to you, which is the creator economy has grown into a, $500 billion global industry. I mean, it's wild. Um, Curation being, you mentioned ShopMy, Thomas being, and obviously we're investors and on the board of ShopMy. Um, Curation being one of the most powerful things. Julia, you love to curate. Can we just talk a little bit about for like your how you start every morning and what you do every
Yes.
single morning? You can serve all of us with great product and curate it so well.
Every morning, and this is just out of habit. It's something I've been doing for so long. And just as somebody who I love being a consumer, I love discovering a new brand. I love introducing new brands to our audience. I am constantly shopping and buying. I mean, I would say, I think most people think that influencers or creators just get free product all the time. And I'm sure there's lots that do, but I turn down 99% of the product that comes my way because I want to buy it, test it, and try it on my own. And in the morning, I check all of my favorite retailers. I check the new arrivals. I get early access to some brands and retailers, and I'm really going through with my lens and my eye and deciphering what I think, what I would wear, what I want to share, what I think has sort of like the JB feel that we will then integrate into blog posts, our shops, social content, and then narrow down what I'm going to buy and shoot. So, I mean, every day I'm sort of culling from many different places on the internet and figuring out what I would recommend to buy so people don't have to do that.
Julia, what sites are you hitting? Polish maximalism, which I know we've discussed, is really you own the category of polish maximalism, which I love and I love
Thank
on
you.
you. Um, what's your process?
I mean, I know most retailers have new arrivals first thing in the morning, so I go through and I sort of scroll until it's not some, technical AI search way, but I think just having that human interaction of like, I know what the last product from yesterday was. It's 2.5 pages in. And so I stop after that. It takes me a couple minutes. And I do that on, Shopbop, Net-a-Porter, Nordstrom, Tuckernuck. And then I go in and check to see, what of my favorite brands have new arrivals. I'm constantly saving things on Instagram to go and discover. So, I mean, the search is always happening.
One of my favorite things is that you guys care so much about quality and not having like Julie, you literally approve every single thing that you curate.
Yes.
Talk more about your view on quality.
Yes. Well, while we do have a team to help us because the amount of content we're producing, is too great for, me to be able to pull for. Um, it's important to me to always have my eye on the market, what's on the runway, what's in new arrivals, because I am the leader of, our aesthetic. And so if I want our team under us to follow that, I have to, have a good sense and pulse on what I think our readers would want, because it's really based on what I would want. While there's millions of trends out there, we're not going to partake in every trend because I don't think that that resonates with me. So it's this innate. I can go through a website so fast because I just am innately drawn to certain things, or I love print, I love color, and those are two things that a lot of people associate with our brand. So it just is very easy for me to. I'm a quick yes or no and immediate person. And every time I've done a design collaboration, or even we're working with our interior designer on our home, they're always sort of blown away by how quickly I can make decisions, because I've always been somebody who knows what they like and what they don't like.
I'm dying to know, who'd you pick to work with for your home? Have you shared that yet?
We're using Summer Thornton.
Fun.
She's based in Chicago, and she's got this really great maximalist style, which is very reflective of my personal fashion style. And so it's been very fun.
Oh, I can't wait to see.
It's sort of like we live in each other's brains, but in different categories.
Oh, I'm dying. Can't wait to see all of that. Thomas, let's talk a little bit about, at its core, you guys are really running a business, and you think of it like a business. And we're going to talk a lot more about being a husband-wife team and how much I love that. Um, there's so much attention spread that you have to think about using and training and delivering high quality to all of your very passionate followers and subscribers and paid subscribers. Can you give us a sense, Thomas, of how you think about Instagram versus Substack versus your own website versus ShopMy versus these huge YouTube and Amazon? Again, you have many, many, many huge revenue lines. How do you think about managing attention and content across all of those? Give us a quick 101 for everyone out there that's listening. School us on what you've learned.
So very early on, so it helped because we were able to start with one platform, and that was a blog on Blogger. And so I think everything has kind of, since that moment, everything, as each new platform has come up, everything points back to the blog. That's our main spot. We still have the highest shopping engagement. Like, I'm a big data person. From the moment we started the business, I had been in like Google Analytics and looking at our affiliate data. So it's something where I'm like, I don't want to guide too much on Julia on her product curation, but it does inform her. So I'm like, how do I surface the right reports for her? So it always comes back to the data, and we're always testing to see what works and what doesn't work. And then it's up to her to interpret that and come up with a new strategy. So it's always been the blog in the center, and that hasn't changed. And Instagram has always, like, Instagram popped off, and we were at one point, I think we were the fastest growing influencer in the fashion space one year, and everyone stopped blogging. Everyone stopped their websites, and we were like, we're not going to make that decision. We're going to keep passing back and make that the hub and send people to our website. Then this past year, about a year ago, we started a Substack, and while it became a really big platform and everyone knows Substack now, like, we wanted to do it in a different way. And with that, I haven't been someone who has posted. I'm not that public. I've always been behind the camera, and this was the first opportunity where, yes, we're in the fashion and beauty category, but I write half of the posts in my own voice as myself. So we think about every platform has to offer something different. So the blog, that's really about, I say, commerce. Even though we're not selling and having the checkout there, the sale does happen. They're convinced by the time that they go click out on our link. Substack is really that sort of like private community thing where it's content you don't get anywhere else, which is really like personal, or because I'm writing, it's access to my voice. While Julia is known for her beauty and fashion content, some of the most successful posts have actually been some of the things that I've written about. My goal is always to surprise and delight people. and give them content like about productivity or AI that they never thought that they needed to read, but they're getting it because they're subscribing really to Julia. Um, and then, we think about other platforms. Like we made a conscious decision not to jump on TikTok when we decided we're like, we can do Substack or we can do TikTok. And I was just like, I'd rather go longer form than shorter form because we know that when we have a bond with a reader, um, there's more value there. Everyone sees more value in it. So we're constantly like analyzing new platforms because they're always launching.
By the way, that's just such an interesting way rather than being like, let's do both and let's just team up. You're like quality, quality, quality. You right now are basically the best performer on ShopMy. Why do you like ShopMy? Tell us how you think about using ShopMy. And Julie, I'll give you a shout out. I love ShopMy Circles because my favorite way to shop is to have the internet shrunk, and ShopMy Circles does that. And I have 3 to 5 people I follow. You're one of them, where I just see everything and I'll be like, I need a dress. I'll take that one. I'll take these kids' shoes, this, that. And it has made my life so much more streamlined. So I love your circle. Thank you.
Thank you.
How do you guys think about ShopMy?
I think, at the beginning, it's sort of funny to look back because I think we had a lot of emails that we sort of just were like, oh, another affiliate network. Like, we don't need another affiliate network. We've done a lot of them. And it wasn't until Thomas took a call, and I'll let him speak after this, but he was so impressed of their strategy of going after the brands first and then the creator influencer, because once you get the brands involved, then you have money involved, and then that also brings in the creator influencer. And I mean, for me, I was really blown away by how they really targeted and went after sort of smaller brands. For a long time, it felt like we could only affiliate link to big retailers. So, while I want to link to every single brand, at the end of the day, we were running a business with employees and an overhead and all these things. We need to see a profit on most of the products we're linking. And so that meant we were linking to a lot to Nordstrom and Saks and Net-a-Porter. But now with ShopMy, they've gotten all of these sort of smaller brands like Calmeyer, Attersea, Lisette, Donny on affiliates so that we have an incentive to link directly to them instead of a retailer. And I feel like it's just a win-win for everyone. These smaller brands, and many of these are not small by any means, but they're making more by having an influencer post directly to their website than they are selling wholesale. So it makes complete sense, and it's worthwhile for us because we get to form a deeper relationship with a wider variety of brands that, if something takes off and does really well, then that's a great conversation to do something more and have a longer lasting relationship with that brand.
And I always think too, like you have to think about how some of these processes of like being a influencer worked before ShopMy because they've changed so much. Like gifting, for instance, like that process was terrible before. It would take
I
5
know.
to 10
Really bad.
emails between. They're like, oh, we want to gift. A brand would reach out to Julia. They say, we want to gift you this some pieces, and by the time you got through 10 emails, it wasn't even worth the time that you spent on it to get that free thing. It's better for Julia to just have bought it and then she can move on with her life. Like now they do it in the streamlined system. You just opt in, you look through the product. Like it makes it, and they've done that with sponsored posts via opportunities. It's just like everything is that much better. And it used to be too, like you never had the access to just talk to a brand directly. We have a manager. We're big enough to have someone to be able to do that for us and represent us. But the average person has the ability to DM and message someone at a brand, and they would have never had that. Maybe they could cold email them before, but like you can start having these relationships. And like, for instance, jewelry was before I say that, we link to the most unique websites of any creator on ShopMy, and we also have the most total links. And in before ShopMy, you would we would be wanting to promote a small brand and you'd be like, okay, I'm going to promote them. And then you would go and there's no affiliate. So then you're like, okay, well, I could talk about them, but I'm technically missing out on money. And so you still have to think about it from like a business perspective. Whereas we started using and testing ShopMy early on. We're like, wait, they have that brand? And wait, they have that brand? And then all of a sudden, a category like jewelry, which Julia is a huge fan of and is totally obsessed with, all of a sudden we were able to monetize that we were never able to do it before. And it's happened category after category after category. And it's just, it's like, we know that we're driving sales, that we have the potential to drive sales. We're just, now we have ability to monetize it on a bigger scale.
which is obviously so much better.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about how you think about tools and technology and the future. And I know we've had a conversation before where a decade ago, when you started your blog 15 years ago, you had a blog. Now you have a blog. You have an Instagram. You have could or could not have TikTok. You have your Substack. You have your Substack Premium and free. You have your ShopMy. You have your Amazon platform. You have a lot to manage. I think we all discuss it, what we see very clearly with AI and vibe coding and all of the incredible stuff. And Thomas, you and I have had some really fun conversations about the future of tech and the category. It's very clear that just the world is going to get easier. And I use the analogy to be like, in some ways, Julia is becoming a Saks.com. The future of, a person can become as big as a department store. And I see that very clearly from everything that, Inspired has touched in e-commerce and the future of e-commerce. That shift feels very easy for me. How do you guys think about that? Just this huge shift that's happening where people have so much more influence. And if you think about it, Macy's was a guy. I'm pretty sure Bergdorf was a guy. Like, they were real people curating, and now it's just happening digitally and with no physical footprint.
Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting to sort of like live in the shift, because we never sought out to sort of have this whole sort of e-commerce on our website, but it's naturally shifted towards that, as I think consumers have naturally shifted towards creators and influencers for not just deciding what to purchase, but like as entertainment, right? Like now, I think like Netflix is competing with YouTube for content. Like, people don't want to watch shows, they want to watch these creators instead. And we are constantly trying to think bigger picture of like, what's that next phase? How do we sort of integrate this power into something bigger and broader? And I mean, that's a question we're still trying to figure out. But we know at the end of the day, our customers are not just, our followers are not just there to participate in, watching something. While some people create for enjoyment or entertainment, our followers are there because they want help in their purchase decisions. They want help in their style decisions. So we really look at ourselves as the authority of that.
Yeah, I think like, just on that topic of how our focus is on like helping, someone said like, what service do you offer? Because I talk about our business as like we're offering a service to someone. And I think we're taking the world of fashion and like taste and style, and we're curating it down to help people make more confident decisions. And like, so many people are online now, and like, what's the most rewarding thing for them to do? What's that little bit of feedback that they can get? They can get eyeballs, they can get views, they can get reach. But then like, what does it lead to? We're lucky that we came up in a time where we know that actually what we're trying to drive are sales, or sales to the sponsors that we're working with. So we have like a North Star that's like directing us towards. And I don't know how many people that are professional, even professional creators, know what they're doing. And it's hard because you're like, I could do this, I could do this. You could literally do anything. There's too many decisions that could be made. But like, returning back to tools, like like you said, there's so many platforms. I think like we have to figure out like, what are you going to do? Like, are you going to be on 7 different channels to be publishing? Like, I think what we're really big, like really focused on 3. Maybe we're going to add a TikTok or a YouTube this year. It's like, I feel like there's always ad, but there's very rarely like okay, let's take away and condense, or figure out more what our message is. So I think like tools is just going back to how many people have like what Julia has with me, which is like like a true partner in the business. We know a lot of professional creators. They're like, oh, my husband's like not that into it, or he's like he does his own thing. Like I think like I am a very strong tool and resource for Julia, and like I think I have contributed to that success significantly because when you're starting something, whether like if you have entrepreneurs who are in your audience, like it helps to have someone to bounce ideas off of. We're always together all the time, but like it can be hard, especially as a creator, because like I said, you can do anything. The world is your oyster, but then like you need focus. Like focus is really important too.
I'm going to interrupt to ask. I want 1 second on what is it like to be a married working couple for 15 years with two beautiful little girls? Ha- I mean, clearly it's working, but like, do boundaries, rules, how does that work? Give us like a quick tidbit.
I feel like people think that we are like sitting side by side working together. We work very differently. Most of the time, we don't even see, unless we're shooting content, we don't work in the same room. Even we both don't like to be interrupted. So, if we're having a meeting, he puts, a calendar invite on my calendar. Like we keep some formalities of being in an office and being sort of coworkers because that helps keep a good balance of respecting each other's boundaries and time and not just walking up and interrupting the other person.
I'll like raise my hand. I'll be like, I'm over here. I have a question.
But I mean, I feel like anybody in this day and age where we're accessible 24/7 on our phones, on our computers, like nobody has like a work-life balance anymore. And so it's always ebbing and flowing depending on the season, whether it's a busy season or not, or and just trying to do our best every day. I always say I'm just trying my best.
Yeah.
Do you remember the brand I told you I want to start? Literally doing my best.
Yes, literally doing
Literally
my
doing my
best.
best.
Yes.
We're gonna start that brand together, as working parents. Taj, just
Yes.
what's your quick tip to working with somebody you love so much?
I mean, it really helps that I always say like we're yin and yang. Like we have strengths and weaknesses and we both like fill each other's in. So I think that's really helpful. We joked in a previous post earlier this year about like how we're in a throuple with our business. And at times it like does feel like that. And it's like we both agree that we want our business to be important and bigger, and it's an important part of our lives. And like um like we don't ever say like I guess we do take some time and like, okay, we're not going to work on business right now, but we do also like really invest in it. And I think we try to balance like how much we can have and it's like healthy and not healthy. I don't know if Julia, you could add to that.
I think Julia was gonna interject there. I want to hear it.
Yeah.
Just saying, like, we both have the same sort of drive. Like, it's not like one wants to work more than the other. So that works for us because I think it would be hard if one of us, when we're going out to dinner, we we love talking about, our dreams and our goals because they're aligned. They're together because we're building it together. So it's like we want to talk about those things. It's not a burden or something that we're like, oh, we're talking about work. We're talking about our dreams, and it's like, what's more exciting than that? Um, and we've just always been very aligned with our business and each other. And it just works. I feel like some couples it would not work, and some couples it just works, and it does.
It totally works.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see why it works. Let's talk a little bit about the future. What is going to change in the creator economy over the next decade? Why don't you each go? What do you see? What are you most excited about? What are you most worried?
I think what we're going to see is like obviously we're already seeing with like AI stuff and just like how much content, and it used to be just like written and now it's like pictures and video, And so I think there's going to be a natural response to that is like, how can people find those people that they actually know and love? Because it's from our perspective is harder to get them to be able to see that. And so I think there's both a scary thing and an opportunity of like, how do we have better connections? That's why we love Substacks. And it's like, once that person subscribes, like they should be able to see those messages a little bit better. It is not the best experience if you're subscribed to like 50 Substacks or 20 Substacks. It's like not the easiest thing to keep up with. We get that, but sometimes I think like it's people are going to follow maybe 10 people instead of 100, but they're going to have a deeper relationship with those 10 people.
I mean, I think again that connection, like the real relationship, and that's again something that's really important to us and that we've spent 15 years building is a relationship. It's not just transactional. Like, there's lots of things that we do that don't drive revenue, that aren't, strategic, but they're important because again, these are real people. We're real people. It's a real relationship and it's meaningful to us and it's meaningful to our community. So honing on that even more because with AI, AI can't compete with that. It can't compete with like real connection. And that's how we can, really stand apart from just this sort of like mass scale of things.
Julia, you said something, you and I were just out of the country together, and you said something that really stuck with me, which is um, you said that you wouldn't use AI to write your content. And your point was part of why people come and trust you and follow, and you have millions of followers across all your platforms combined. And by the way, you have one of the highest conversions of any influencer out there, which is really, and people are trained to come and trust your style and your taste, and people shop from you pretty powerfully. You were like, "I'm not gonna use AI because I don't want somebody not to trust that it's my voice, or the second someone feels like you're mailing it in and creating less high quality slop." You were like, "I'm just not gonna do it. I built this audience. It's, it is trust is everything." And you were like, "It's just where would you use AI?" So that for me was a moment where I
Mhm.
was like, there is just very clear places where people aren't gonna throw AI. Where would you use AI?
Yeah, I think there's I would it would not be smart of me to not integrate AI into certain parts of my life. And thankfully I have Thomas who has been really smart about uh adding it into the parts of our life that alleviate things that we shouldn't be doing still. But to me, again, like, yes, I use AI. I use it as an editor. I write my post, I get my voice out, and then I say, I ask it questions of, helping me figure out, to get to the point that I'm trying to get to or to give suggestions. I think there's smart ways you can use it without just, write this for me. How can you write a personal post when it's not you, it's not your voice? And then the same comes from having it curate too. I mean, we were like, how amazing would it be to make Julia bots and have it curate the internet for me? And we've played around with that, and there's different apps and lots of things to try and do that. But it's just pulling from the past. It's not looking at the future. And I think taste and aesthetic is constantly evolving and it's so nuanced and it's not something that's predictable. And so, how can AI predict that? And maybe it will get better and it will over time. But right now, that's just something that is really important. I mean, it's like the core of our brand, so we would never sort of pass that off to AI. But I think there's a lot of ways, I'll let Thomas talk about this, that we can incorporate into our business that just keeps our workflow better.
Yeah, I think one of the good examples is we were talking earlier about, in DMs of like, or comments, or like just all this information that we get. Like, we have so much great data, or like data analysis is somewhere I use AI a lot. Bringing in all of our affiliate sales for the year, bringing in every comment from Q&A on Instagram, and being able to analyze that to see what people are talking about. We did that recently on a styling request, and we found out that like 30 or 40% were related to like travel wedding things. So we're like, okay, let's create more content around travel weddings. So it's like use the data to better understand what people are looking for so that we can service them even better. Julie and I are both writing, as I talked about on Substack. I do things slightly different. I will do a ton of voice to text. I do a lot of voice mode where I'm just talking aloud. I have an idea that hits me on the street and I'm just boom, right into writing mode, capturing as much as I possibly can. And then we'll take that into a draft I do for when I write. And so then I'll start iterating for there. I always say that like I'm such an iterator that it would actually be faster for me to go sit down and write everything typing out, but I want it to be so good. I ask it to be devil's advocate. Like I'm going through different angles. I'm like, by the time I'm done, I'm like, I probably could have written this. It'd be not as good, but I could have written this faster with just by myself without the help with AI. Or I think of it more as like a coworker collaborating together at the best possible version of that skill that you're looking for, like an analyst or an editor, then so as like something is just doing everything for me.
I love that. I'm going to move to the quickfire round where I'm just going to ask questions. You guys have to just tell me the first thing that comes to your head. I'm going to start with Julia. Julia, favorite outfit? You got to just quickly tell me which one of your favorite outfits
Ooh.
you've ever worn.
Like a cotton midi dress, like a crisp cotton midi dress in the summertime with a ballet flat. Just like
Um,
a easy uniform.
I hear you, girl. Um, Thomas, the thing you're most excited about right now.
Can I talk my own book?
Yes, of course.
We are just launching something called Quarterly, which we learned about um, our website. We're still operating it, but so many other bloggers have shut theirs down, and we want to. Quarterly takes your Instagram and turns it into a web page in 5 minutes. And it's kind of that central hub for anyone to point everyone back to from wherever they're posting content online.
And everybody, you can check out mine and Julia's by the time this podcast is up. So check it out and become a follower. Um, I want to know a business book that you really like changed your life. Thomas, you go first.
Innovator's Dilemma is my favorite of all time, and it's applied so many times to our business because you don't want to get too good at what you're doing because then you leave yourself open for being disrupted. So I'm always ready to just like burn it down and build it back up because you need to be able to just not get like, I guess, rest on your laurels.
I love that. Um, Julia, I want to know your favorite routine. Like, just give me what's your morning routine look like? I've now traveled with you to two different countries, and I just give me a sense. What's your favorite routine?
I am a morning person, so I love being up when it's dark, when it's quiet. Ideally, nobody's up. Our kids um, have figured out our morning routine, so it's disrupted a little bit. But I like to wake up at 5. I like to exercise and move my body. That gives me energy. It makes me feel good. And then I like getting on top of all my kids' stuff ideally before they're up. And that just helps to sort of set my day. I go over my agenda, my calendar, everything I have to do for that day, like all before the sun is up. And that way, by the time our team and we're all online by 9 a.m., I feel like I'm ready to start my day and I know sort of what my plan and agenda is for the day. But then I'm asleep. I'm asleep by 9:30 p.m. because it's been a long day by then. But for me, like owning the morning has changed my life and just made me a much more productive person.
I love it. Um, last two questions for you each. Thomas, is there a motto you swear by? Like something that kind of runs through your head? And I'm going to ask Julia the same question. I'll give you mine as a quick inspiration. Mine is get up, dress up, show up. I like to get up early to tackle the morning. I like to dress up because I feel like getting dressed it makes you feel better. And I like to show up with a positive attitude. Get up, dress up, show up. That's mine.
Mine, I've always said is always assume positive intent. And I feel like it's just a mindset of like choosing to see the good, choosing to like let your brain make positive decisions because and I've like just started getting into a lot of not like mind work, but I think I've always been manifesting. I'm just such a dreamer of I just have so many unrealistic expectations, but a lot of them have come to fruition because I just refuse for them not to. And I think that there is so much science behind that, which I find really interesting. But I feel like that quote sort of lends itself to that thinking.
I love it. Thomas, what's just the motto in your head?
I would just say do things that people aren't doing.
I like it.
So it's like stand out from the crowd, wake up at 5 a.m. and work out, be consistent.
Okay. And just because you guys are so fun to see your travel and you eat all of the places you go, last question, just because I want to know. Favorite boutique hotel? Julia, go first.
Oh, I mean, we went years ago, so it's been a while, but Dunton Hot Springs is super cool, in Colorado, right, T?
Yep.
I don't even know about it.
It's like off the grid, off the beaten path. You're in log cabins. It's beautiful.
Thomas?
Mine's Pasalacqua in Lake Como. I think about it
But
like
that's not a boutique hotel.
it's boutique-y.
Boutique.
Is it?
Counts.
Okay, because then that's my number. I have a better one.
Go for it.
Villa Feltrinelli in Lake Garda.
Lake Garda.
That is like hands down number one hotel I've ever been to.
First of all, guys, just thank you so much. It's so fun to see that not only are you guys building something that just brings so much fun and happiness into people's lives, but just really the level of intentionality and commitment to quality and tech forward thinking is just so clear. And it's just been so fun to get to know both of you. I'm rooting for you. And again, I'm just so happy to see what a beautiful and joyful life you guys have built for yourself together. It is inspiring, to say the least.
Thank you, Alexa. It was so much fun to be here and to be on this. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Check out all of our sites, the website, the Substack, the ShopMy, all of it. And you'll have us next week. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you all so much for tuning in today. If you enjoyed the episode, please rate, review, subscribe. We'll be back again with another episode of Inspired with Alexa Von Tobel. Thank you.